Yo, what's going on, guys? This is Mr. Action back at you with another episode of Packed In Action Figure Reviews, where we give you that action that's packed in. And on today's episode, we are going to be taking a look at the Street Fighter line coming straight to you out of the Jada Toys. And these figures have actually been out for quite some time now, and they've been stirring up the pot as of lately with just how good these figures are. And being that I've actually owned some of these figures, I thought it would be a great opportunity to actually talk about them, about the aesthetics of these figures, and some of the articulation and just a little bit of history about Jada Toys itself. Now, to my understanding from the research that I actually came up with, Jada Toys is relatively a new company. I mean, it was started in 1999, so I roughly call it about 24 years now, which is relatively, the new kid on the block compared to like your Hasbros and your other companies such as that. But, to see, how the quality of these figures are, man, I am quite impressed with a lot of these figures, man. I actually ran into it my first time when I took a trip to Plastic Universe, which happens to be one of our local collectible stores here in South Florida. I had happened to stumble upon the Ryu, and I had no idea that Jada Toys would be releasing it. At first, initially, I had thought it was the Ace H Figure Arts figures for the Street Fighter line, but to my surprise, when I looked at the price, which was only about like $21, $22 at the time, and I saw the figure, I said, man, you really couldn't beat that. So I definitely grabbed that Ryu when I had the opportunity, and ever since more characters have been announced as well as released, I've done my due diligence to collect as many as I can. For today's episode, I am going to be going over Ryu, Ken, Chun-Li, Fei Long, Dalsim, as well as M. Bison. I am going to be relatively brief on each figure as these figures have been out for quite some time, so don't expect a full in-depth review. But regardless of that, man, I just want to take a look at these figures, man, and just really, deep dive into the quality of them, man. And I think that if you're not aware of Jada Toys, man, you definitely got to check them out, because the figures that they're pushing out for the price point, man, is really, really, really good. So before we get started, I'm gonna ask you guys a really huge favor. If you can please like and subscribe, as it tremendously helps me out in the YouTube algorithm, I would greatly appreciate it. So with all of that being said, let's go ahead and get started, starting off with our poster boy himself, Ryu. So starting off with the poster boy himself, we have Ryu, or Ryu, all depending on the pronunciation that you choose to go with. And one of the things that I really enjoyed that Jada Toys does is that they really know how to utilize their reference or source material, which in this case happens to be the Ultra Street Fighter 2, the Final Challengers video game. And I honestly feel like Jada Toys did an exceptional job of executing this figure for us in action figure form based on the art style from that video game. Now, starting off, taking a look at the head sculpt, I really enjoy that Jada Toys really captured the likeness of Ryu, and it doesn't matter if you're looking at him from standing straight on or even from side profiles, you are going to get that likeness, and I really honestly feel like they captured that. One of the other things that I really enjoy with this body mold is the fact that when it comes down to the paint, we are going to have certain areas where the body is going to be highlighted with like a pink wash on top of certain tones of the body, just to give it more of a three-dimensional kind of look. And I'm not sure if it's going to be picked up by my camera lens, but with the naked eye you could definitely see it. We also do have some more dry brush or some wash here inside the inner chest as well as the abdominals, and it's just really nice attention to detail like that. That is really, really awesome, man. And speaking of detail, even here taking a look at his clothes, man, we can see that they didn't go with a flat plastic. They actually went ahead and gave us a little bit of texture here, and I honestly feel like it brings out so much detail to the figure, man. And I'm really happy that they didn't go with the flat plastic, because we would have gotten that cheap plastic look. And that textured look goes throughout all of the body, man, when it comes down to his uniform. And I really couldn't be more pleased. We also have some wrinkles in there as well. And even here on the belt, we still do have some really nice stitch work in there, despite the fact with the chipped paint. And even here, taking a look at his gloves on his hands, we do still have some nice texture there as well. And even down to his bandana, we also do have some wrinkle work there as well. So honestly, I really couldn't complain with the texture work on this figure, man. I really like the fact that the plastic that they decided to use for his top is, it's soft plastic. So, when it comes down to the articulation, it's not going to be hindered. So speaking of articulation, when it comes down to the head, his head is going to be on a ball peg. The neck and head are on two separate pieces. So you are going to get a nice range of motion going all the way around. Looking up, we can get our Ryu figure looking up about this much, which I think is pretty decent looking up. And then as far as looking down, he can look down about this much, which I also think is a pretty good range of motion. Due to that ball peg, we also do get some nice pivots going side to side. Then coming down over to the arms, we do get that nice T-man pose, which is always phenomenal. We also do have these nice butterfly joints here on the side, which we can pull his arms back, and you can also push his arms forward. So you're not going to have any issues when you want your Ryu figure to go ahead and shoot his Hadouken fireball. We also do have bicep swivel with 360 degrees, as well as double jointed elbows that go way beyond the 90-degree mark, which I think is super duper important. We also do have hinges for his wrists. They do go up. You are going to have to play with it a little bit, just so that way we do get a little bit of clearance from the wristbands, and they do go down as well. Then for the diaphragm, we also do have it where we can twist it. Mine is a little bit of tight. It's not going to be hindered or anything like that, but you also do have a ball peg for the ab crunch. So when it comes down to your Ryu figure bending, we can actually get some really nice bending there for you. And then he can also bend back forward this much as well. So very nice range of motion, and he also can go side to side as well. And I really like the fact that Jada Toys really uses this body style of articulation, because as much as I love my Marvel Legends, man, this is just really does it for me. Then coming down over here to the legs, we also do have that waist articulation, so we can get that nice twist. His legs do go into splits, which was something that honestly really surprised me due to the thickness of the legs. We also do have the ability to kick up about this much, which I think is a very good range of motion, to be completely honest. And then he can also kick back about this much too as well. So also a pretty good range of motion. We also do have thigh cut 360 degree. We also do have double jointed knees. We don't get any boot to butt, but still a good range of motion. And then for the legs, we do have a boot cut that's really implemented very well in the design. So we do get 360 degrees there. We also do have his foot on a hinge. It can go down about this much. It goes up about that much. And then we also do have some nice ankle pivot in there. So all in all, man, this Ryu figure definitely, has everything that you would need. And next up on the list, we have our guy Fei Long here. And one of the things that I really enjoyed that Jada Toys did with this figure was, despite the fact that we got a bare bones body, they still went ahead and gave us some very nice details as far as the paint inside the crevices of the muscular definition on his body. And it really does bring out, more details, and it does make the figure look a lot more three-dimensional. So very great job with that. I'm very happy that they didn't skip out on that. Speaking of more detail, even here on the pants, similar to the Ryu with his outfit, they went ahead and they gave us some texturing here on the pants, and I really like the way that it came out. As we can see, they're like, just lines going all the way throughout, even down here to his joggers and everything else like that. So very nice attention to detail, man. Even here, the boots, I do like that, nice yellow trim of paint going around. Very nice clean work, man, all in all, to be completely honest. But the aesthetics of this figure is really good, man. And even, taking a look here at the face of Fei Long, I also do feel like they did a pretty phenomenal job of capturing the likeness of that figure as well. When it comes down to the articulation, it is going to be standard as we've seen before. So starting off with the head, it is on a ball peg, so we are going to get that same nice range of motion. We can have him looking up about this much. we do have him looking down about this much, and he also is going to get that nice side to side pivot motion. As far as the arms is concerned, we can still get that T-man pose, which is super duper important. We also do get those nice butterfly joints that go out about this much, and they can also come forward about this much as well. Then going down over to the arms, he does have the bicep swivel 360 degrees, which is also nice for your figures. Then he also does have the double jointed elbows, which go way beyond the 90-degree mark, which is also very duper important. Then for his fists, they are on hinges. They do go up. Mine's is a little stiff as I just did open this up out of the package, but they do go up and they definitely do come down here as well. Then for the diaphragm, it can twist. Again, mine is a bit stiff as I just took mine out my packaging. And then we also do have the ball joint here for his abdominals, which is going to give him a very good range of motion as far as him crunching forward, and it is also going to give him a nice range of motion as far as crunching backwards as well. He also is going to get that waist articulation, which I think is also important. We can get his legs kicking up this high. We can get his legs kicking back this far back. We also do get the nice splits about this wide, and we also do have boot cut, which was also implemented very well right here into his feet. And he also has hinges on his feet where he can be down this much and it can go up about this much, and he also does have the pivoting in there as well. So pretty standard for a Fei Long figure, man. Pretty standard for all the things that you are going to need for this guy. And one of the other things that I really liked that Jada Toys did was that they included this accessory piece here for his flaming kick move. So, you know, if you do want to get some photo opportunities with that here, you are going to be able to do that. And I really like the way how this came out. As we see, it starts off from, you know, that red orange and then going over into that translucent yellow. And I feel like there's enough detail in here to kind of, you know, just mix it up. So overall, pretty pleased with, you know, the things that our Fei Long did come with. He also does come with these hands as well. So, you know, if you want them posed up, you know, giving you them hand signals and gestures and everything like that, you can also get those in there. And along with that hands, we also do have the additional head that he comes with as well. So very good amount of accessories for this Fei Long, man. Very happy to finally have, like, you know, my Bruce Lee figure in comic form. You know, that's how I see my Fei Long, but others might see him as just Fei Long himself. But overall, pretty solid figure from Wave 1. Up next on the list, we have the poster girl herself, Chun-Li. And one of the things that I really enjoy that Jada Toys does is that they don't skip out on the amount of quality that they devote to their female figures. Unfortunately, for other companies like Hasbro with the Marvel Legends, a lot of times, you know, we can see that they skip out on the quality for their female figures, whether that be, you know, their female figures having single jointed elbows or non-functioning abdominals. And the fact that, you know, this figure, you know, has that plus more honestly really says a lot for a company that's only been doing action figures, you know, for quite some time. So starting off with the aesthetics, man, I really like that, you know, the likeness of this figure. I think they did a phenomenal job of, you know, capturing it, you know, based off of the video game. And similarly to the Ryu and, you know, the Fei Long, as far as the texturing, if we take a closer look here on the body, we do see that, you know, there is quite a bit of texture all throughout the body. And I think, you know, that's super duper important if you want to give your figures some depth, you know what I'm saying? And I really feel like Jada Toys definitely delivered and really pulled through and, you know, really showed us what they can do, you know, for being a company that's only been out on the market for, you know, not as long as, you know, giants like Hasbro and whatnot. But, you know, even here, taking a look at the face, I do feel like the paint work is relatively pretty clean, man. I do have what appears to be like a little splotchiness here on the chin line, but honestly, it's not a lot to the point where it takes away, you know, from the figure for me. And then even here, taking a look at, you know, her hair accessories, you know, we do have those small chips of paint here and there. And I think it came out really, really, really good, man. Like even here, the wrinkles inside her clothes and everything like that, you have that along with the texture. And honestly, I really couldn't be any more pleased. Even here, as far as the paint on the skin tone, again, I'm not sure if it's going to be picked up on my camera, but I do feel like it's a little bit easier to see. But on her forearms here, you are going to see some bits of wash on her, just to give the body more of a dimensional kind of look. And I really feel like they really did a phenomenal job with this figure, man. Honestly, really can't complain. Like even the boots down here, man, like where most other companies might just have straight boots, we do have some nice wrinkles in there. So very, very good. So when we were talking about articulation, her head is going to be on a ball peg, and I do believe that the neck is a separate piece, so you are going to get relatively a decent range of motion. So as far as looking up, she is going to be able to look this far up. Looking down, she can look very much down, so no problems there. And then you also are going to get that nice side to side pivoting as well. Now when it comes down to the articulation to the shoulders, I was honestly concerned due to how puffy her shoulders were, but surprisingly, how they designed this, man, you are actually able to get her in that nice T-man pose. Apart from the T-man pose, unfortunately, we don't get any butterfly joints, but again, this portion of the figure is relatively small, so they probably would have had a hard time engineering it there. We still do get bicep swivel. I really honestly didn't think we were gonna have it because I tried rotating this, but that doesn't move. But we do get that bicep swivel, and we do get those double jointed elbows, which go way beyond that 90-degree mark, which I think is, very, very good. I'm so tired of Marvel Legend female figures not having double jointed elbows. Her hands are on a hinge. They do go up about this much and they do come down. So very happy that we did get that range of motion for the articulation. Then for the waist, it is on a ball peg, so we can go as such. I do believe her diaphragm can twist as well. That is a separate piece, so very nice range of motion. She can bend forward about this much, which I think is very, very, very good. And she can bend backwards this much, which I also think is very, 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 very good. Coming down over here, we also do get that waist swivel. She can get her legs to do the splits, as you guys can see earlier, so we can get her doing her spinning kicks. She does have thigh cut, so we do get 360 degrees. She can kick this far out. She can kick this far back. She does have double jointed knees, no boot to butt, but still a decent range of motion. She does have boot cut, and I feel like they did a phenomenal job of implementing it here, so we do have the boot cut there. As far as the feet, it is on hinges, so going up, it does go up about this much, and going down, it goes about that much. And we still also do have nice pivoting going side to side. So very, very pleased with the articulation of this figure. Very happy that Jada Toys did not skip out on the quality of their female figures, man. And very, very stoked to know that they went the distance with this figure. And up next on the list, we have the color palette swap to Ryu, also known as Ken. And man, I really like this figure, man. When this figure was announced, I honestly thought it was just going to be the same as the Ryu figure, but surprisingly, there are differences. So just to kind of show you guys real quick what some of those differences are, a lot of those differences are actually going to be in the uniform. So right off the bat, you can see here, with the Ryu, we do have the tattered top here, as on this one, that tattered top is not there. And we can see the same thing here on the bottom at the legs as well. Here on the bottom, we do have that tattered look. Here, we have that more straight form look. But apart from those minor differences, the rest of the figure is relatively the same, so I'm not going to go too much as far as aesthetics and articulation, as we've done that before. But again, we do have nice texturing all over the figure. I really can't complain. The one thing that I would probably critique is there does seem to be a bit of overage on the paint, and it kind of gives his hair a sloppy kind of look. It is done a bit overdone for me, but again, I've seen worser paint jobs. But overall, I'm still satisfied that the fact that we did get this Ken, and I really couldn't be more pleased, to have him. Now, similarly to the Ryu Hadouken Fireball, our Ken also does come with his own personal fireball, which I also think is really cool. Similarly to how the Ryu had the hands in his fireball, we also have it here as well. So very cool that we were able to get that. So very, very pleased with this Ken figure, man. We can get, our Ken and our Ryu fighting, you know what I'm saying? Very great comrades, but also, rivals to one another. So very happy that, we can finally get our Ryu and our Ken together. Very solid release. Up next on the list, we have the Yoga Fire Master himself, Dalsim. And, I'm very pleased with, the fact that Jada Toys went ahead and decided to go with a different body mold for this character. Honestly, when this figure was announced, I honestly thought that it was going to be the same body mold as Fei Long. But upon taking a closer look, I did come to the realization that it is on two different bodies. We can definitely see that here the ab pieces are different, as well as the upper torsos as well. And one of the ways I was able to figure that out was from, this portion right here on the top of his collarbone is a lot different from here. So very, very happy that they went ahead and they used a different body mold. With Marvel Legends, a lot of times we'll have, the Bucky cap, or in this case, that new one. I can't come to the top of my head. The you guys know what I'm talking about. Put it down in the comments below. But very happy that they went with a different body mold for this figure, man. And again, similarly to the Fei Long, even though we have a majority bare bones body, we still do get some nice paint work in there as far as on the muscular tone, just to kind of help bring out some of that three-dimensional look for the figure itself. And I really, really like the way that it came. The other thing that I want to point out is as far as, the accessories on the figure itself. Here we do have his little neck bone, his skeleton necklace. And then, it is a soft goods. You can take this off if you wanted to. And then he also does have these earrings here as well, which looks like it's real metal. So I really like the fact that we do have that there. I do wish that they could have implemented that here on his bangles right here. Don't know why they went ahead and gave us plastic, but it still has a nice metallic paint on there. And just like the rest of the figures, it's a little bit harder to see it on this one, but we still do have quite a bit of texture here on the shorts if we do take a closer look. And we also do get some nice dark orange paint in there as well to kind of bring out, the highlights of the pants as well. We could probably see it a lot more on the back as opposed to the front. And the texturing doesn't stop there. Even on the bandages or his ankle wraps, we still do see that there is a lot of detail and texturing there, man. And I really could not be more happy with it. Here with the armband on the head, we still have that there as well. And the paint work for the face too is done very, very, very clean. Even here taking a look at the top of the head, I do believe I have some slight marbling in there, but not enough for me to, be mad. But very pleased with this Dalsim, man. And I think that, the execution for this figure is really on point. Now, apart from the figure itself, Dalsim also does come with his long arms and his long legs, so that is definitely something to notate. And the one thing that I really like about these accessories is the fact that you can actually get them to bend to your will, to your whatever shape or desire that you wish to do. And I think that's a really, really, really cool feature, man. Not a feature that we see often done too many times. I'm not sure why Hasbro hasn't used this on a Mr. Fantastic as of yet, but we do get that. And apart from the limbs, we also do get this additional head sculpt where we do have him yelling. And I really do like this face, man, because it really does capture that fierceness of Dalsim, whether he's shooting his Yoga Fire or his Yoga Flame, or just whatever move set or whatever action you want to have him doing. So very happy that you know, our figure did come with that. I was very surprised that we didn't get any fire accessories for this figure. That was something that bummed me out quite a bit, as well as the fact that, you know, we did not get, you know, anything to, you know, swap his hands. And what I mean by that is, unfortunately for, you know, the wrist here, these can't pop out. So you are going to have basically stuck fisted hands in your long limbs. If you're okay with that, then, you know, I guess it is whatever. Now, as far as articulation is concerned, we can get that nice pivoting motion side to side all around. The neck is a separate piece. We can get him to look up this far amount. We can get him to look down about this much. Pretty good range of motion. And we also do have the nice pivoting side to side. The arms can come out, so we can get that nice T-man pose. He does have butterfly joints, so we do get a nice range of motion going back and forward. So you can have him shooting his yoga fire or yoga flame with no issue, no problem. His arms are on a bicep swivel, 360 degrees. We do have double jointed elbows, which go way beyond the 90-degree mark. We also do have the hinges for his hands. They go up about this much. They do go down about that much. So very nice range of motion. He also does have the diaphragm joint, so we can get it to twist. Mine is a bit tight, but we can get it to twist, which is nice. We also do have a ball peg here for the abdominal, so we can get him to crunch back forward rather quite nice, and we can get him to bend back nicely as well. We do have that waist articulation. The design of the pants is also really, really nice. One of the details that I left out was even here on the belt. Even though this is not soft goods or anything like that, the plastic is still soft on this portion here, so it does give it that three-dimensional look. His legs can kick out quite a bit far, so you know, he is a pretty flexible guy. So you know, I was really hoping that they didn't, you know, skip out with the articulation there. He can kick forward quite a bit, so very nice range of motion, and he can kick back quite a bit too as well. We can get his his legs to do 360. They do pop out, so if you were interested in how, you know, we do get those long limbs, that's how we do it. He does have double jointed double jointed knees, no boot to butt, but still a good range of motion. He also does have boot cut here, which I think again was implemented very well. And then he also does have the hinge that goes this far down, it goes this up, and he also does have the pivot as well. So very nice range of motion for a character whose basically job is to be super flexible and to shoot his limbs everywhere. So again, very, very solid release from Jada Toys, man. They have been knocking it out the park. And last on our list, but definitely not least, we have M. Bison. And one of the things that I was thoroughly impressed with the Jada Toys was the fact that they were able to be consistent with their articulation, even for a figure that is slightly bigger. I guess I'm just so, you know, accustomed and used to Marvel Legends bigger figures only having that standard ab crunch, which honestly really limits the articulation. So to see that, you know, Jada Toys was able to implement this on a bigger figure, you know, I was definitely feeling spoiled. But before we get into the articulation, I definitely want to take a closer look at the aesthetics of this figure. And again, man, Jada Toys does not miss, man. They are really knocking the ball out of their park with these figures, man, and I really cannot complain, man. I am really liking this, you know, head sculpt for this M. Bison here, man, and I really think that they did a good job. I do feel like the features on the face are a little soft. However, I do wish that they were a little bit more defined, as he is a you know, a villain, so we want to make sure that, you know, our people do look like that. Then taking a look here at the head, we also do get some nice texturing there as well, so very nice attention to detail all throughout the body, man. And as we can see, we do have that texturing all throughout, man, and I do feel like the paint work is painted on there relatively pretty clean too as well. And even on the small parts here, like the gold on his belt, you know, I really like the fact that they went ahead and they went and used a metallic gold as opposed to a flat gold. And even here on, you know, his shin guards or his forearm guards, you know, it is painted in a nice metallic sheen. So I really like the fact that they went ahead and just really went all out with the paint, because as you know, most of us know, the paint can really make a big difference, you know, in the details and the execution of how our figures ultimately look. Now, one of the other big things with this figure for me was the cape, and I really like the fact that we do have this nice wired cape, especially for the price point for what these figures are in, because a lot of times we get soft capes that really don't do anything. It doesn't really do anything for the articulation, but with this cape, man, you are able to pose it up in so many different various poses, so you can get some very nice articulation going. Now, speaking of articulation, starting off with the head, it is on a ball peg, so we can get his head to move all around in different waves of motion, so that is very good. The neck is a separate piece, which is also very good. He can look up this much, which is very important, especially for his special moves, and he can look down quite a bit as well. So a very good range of motion there. He also does have the nice pivoting. Now, again, with the articulation, very happy that, you know, we do still have a very good range of motion, despite that this is a figure on a bigger buck. We do get some butterfly joints, so we can get his arms to go out this far back, and they can come forward quite a bit. One thing that I do like about the shoulder pads are floating, and it is like attached on the inner butterfly joint, if that makes sense, if you guys understand what I'm saying. So you can get it to move, you know, up, down, which I think is perfect for this guy. So again, going with the arms, he does have the bicep swivel 360 degrees. He does have double jointed elbows. Now, unfortunately, due to the thickness of his arms, you are going to get it past 90 degrees, but that's about as far as you're going to get it. His hands are on a hinge, so they can go up and they can come down as so. Then for the diaphragm, we can get it to twist. Mine is a bit stiff, as this is a coming straight out of the packet, but it can twist, I can assure you that. We do have a ball peg for the ab, so we can get him to bend down this much, which I think is a pretty decent range of motion. He can go back a quite decent amount as well. He does have waist articulation, so we can get it to twist. He does have a very nice decent range of motion, especially for having, you know, bulky legs as such. He can kick up. I do like the fact that the plastic for the lower part of his shirt is soft, so you're not going to get any hindrance there, and he can kick back quite a bit as well. As far as the knees goes, we do get double jointed knees, and I think these came out really, really good, man. Again, just that paint, the sheen and everything, man, everything is so nice. He does have thigh cut. Unfortunately, the one thing he does not have is boot cut on this figure, but despite the fact that we don't have that, we still do get a relatively decent hinge going down. It does go up, however, you are going to get a bit of hindrance due to the clearance here, and we also do get some nice ankle pivoting. All in all, man, very pleased with, you know, the articulation of this figure. The aesthetics is definitely on point, but the fact that we can still get a relatively decent articulated, you know, M Bison, I think is super duper important. Now, so after all is said and done, I think Jada Toys did a phenomenal job with this Street Fighter line, man. I really feel like, you know, they really utilized the source material. They really executed all of these figures in their correct action figure form, and they look like they came from straight out of the video game into real life. So honestly, I could not be pleased, man, considering that Jada Toys is relatively, you know, the new kid on the block. You know, I am just very impressed with, you know, what they have been able to do. And of course, with the recent, you know, announcement of, you know, the Cammy, as well as, you know, the Guile. And I want to say there was another figure from them, but I can't remember from the top of my head. But, you know, I just figured it would be a great idea to just go over, you know, waves 1 and 2, since this is the first time that I've actually done any kind of, you know, review or any videos of that nature regarding the Street Fighter line from Jada Toys. So guys, once again, thanks for checking out another episode of Packed In Action Figure Reviews, where we give you that action that's packed in. Please like and subscribe as it tremendously helps out my channel. I would greatly appreciate it. You guys have a good one. Stay blessed.